If Jesus Christ were to descend onto another planet and change the civilization's whole history, I'm pretty sure it would look something like Dune. Right now I'm imagining Jesus Christ surfing on sand. Dune is a book written by Frank Herbert back in 1965, and it is about a planet known as Arrakis. It's a desert planet. It's very desolate. Not many people live there, and it's about this one particular family, the Atreides family, who has been sent by the Emperor, because this is in space and everything, and it's like way in the future. It's like thousands of years in the future, and all these different planets are ruled by different families, but there's this one emperor who's kind of in control of everything. And the Atreides family, with the Duke Leto and his wife, the Lady Jessica, and their son, Paul, they are sent to Arrakis, to govern Arrakis. But from the get-go of the book, you kind of feel like it's a trap. And everybody in the book kind of feels like, oh gosh, Admiral Akbar, if he were here, would say, it's a trap. And while I don't want to spoil much of what happens at the beginning of the book, but suffice to say, I will say that stuff happens, shit hits the fan, and Paul Atreides and his mother, Lady Jessica, are basically sent on the run into the deep desert of Arrakis, which is known for having giant sandworms that I mean, they're like enormous, like miles long, and have like teeth and everything. They'll eat you and that sort of thing if you don't know how to, you know, live out there in the desert like the native people, which are the Freemen. And basically what happens is Paul and his mother, Lady Jessica, fall in with the Freemen somehow in some way. I'm not going to tell you how. And that is where the story really takes place, because these Freemen are thought to be just like savages and stupid and all that. But when Paul and Lady Jessica team up with these people, they suddenly realize that the Freemen are far, 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 far more sophisticated than anyone could have ever thought. Also, to fill out this little synopsis here, I must say that Paul is more than meets the eye. There's something up with him. A lot of people, including his own mother and the Freemen, think that he is some sort of supernatural type character, entity. I mentioned Jesus Christ earlier. And yeah, there's some crazy stuff dealing with him. And Lady Jessica, she is a part of the Bene Gesserit Order, which is basically a, not necessarily a cult, but it's a, well, kind of, and it's a bunch of women primarily who are trying to breed about an almost supernatural character known as the Kwisatz Haderach. And well, Paul may very well be that guy. And yeah, the Bene Gesserit Order, it's almost like a religious institution in a way, and it's really, really cool, really, really freaky too. And that's all I'm going to say for the synopsis of Dune. I really haven't given anything away, so if you say that I've spoiled a whole bunch, I have not. There's so much to the book Dune that I have not told you. And now I'm just going to tell you exactly what I liked and did not like about Frank Herbert's Dune. So let's start with the things I liked. Everything. Okay, I loved Dune. I so loved Dune. This book threw me for a whirl. I'd always heard about Dune being like a famous science fiction book that changed sci-fi for forever, but I saw how thick it was and it's pretty small print, and I was like, I don't want to read it anytime soon. But I finally was like, all right, I need to read Dune, because Denis Villenueve is directing the movie Dune. And Denis Villenueve, if you guys don't know who that is, he directed Prisoners, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, Enemy. The guy's a great director, and I can't wait to see what he does with Dune, but I wanted to read the book before he directed his movie. And now that I have, I gotta say, I mean, it was written in the 1960s, and Dune, as I understand it, is one of those books that most people have not heard of. Like, most people that I tell about Dune, they've never heard of it. But every single science fiction writer has read Dune. At least every single science fiction writer that you've probably heard of. And as I understand it, it really changed the history of science fiction and science fiction writing and novels. And I see why. The book is so unbelievably detailed. The world building, the description of the planet of Arrakis and of the like intergalactic government and all of this stuff. It's so unbelievably detailed. And the planet, Arrakis, I mean, there's so much complexity to it. It feels like it's a real world out there. It really feels that way. There's so much, everything having to do with the worms, everything having to do with the Freeman and the corrupt government that's going on there. And it just, the world building is unbelievable. It's reminded me a lot of, well, not necessarily Game of Thrones, but you could definitely, particularly with the religious stuff, I feel like George R. R. Martin, if he in fact read Dune, I think he said that he has. I feel like the religious stuff in this book, I think he took inspiration from, at least as far as how detailed it is. Because in Dune, the Bene Gesserit order and everything having to do with the Freemen have basically deified the Bene Gesserit people, and they definitely deify Paul, who they call the Muad'Dib or whatever, which is basically a messianic kind of character who's going to take their desert world and turn it into the oasis that it once was thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, or so they think. I might be a little bit mixed up on if it ever had been an oasis. I think it had been. I can't remember. But it's the stuff having to do with the Freemen and their religion. It feels so real. The Freemen feel like a real people. The Bene Gesserit order, with dealing with the Lady Jessica and just all that stuff, it feels like I said, it feels like a real religion. And it's so detailed, and it's like almost like an acid trip at points. There are like visions and sort of things that Paul experiences, and also the Lady Jessica, to where you're almost like, man, were these people eating mushrooms or something? Because that's what it seems like. It seems the religious experiences that happen in this book seem so raw and real. And I gotta talk about those sandworms some more. Those sandworms have a lot to do with the Freeman people. They are not actually they're not even like really afraid of the sandworms. And well, man, I'm just gonna tell you, okay? They ride them. It's so cool. It's so cool. The Freeman people, who were thought to be these savages and stupid people, they figured out how to ride these kilometer-long or 2-kilometer-long sandworms that can eat things. And all the people that live in the city think that, they fear the sandworms. They stay out of their territory, but the Freemen run around on the sand. They have all these like underground forts and everything, and it's just amazing. The Freeman people are super, 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 super awesome. Paul, who, as I said, they kind of view as a messianic character. He proves to be just that. He should be, if Jesus Christ were to descend to another planet, I'm pretty sure he would probably behave a lot like Paul Muad'Dib. Although I feel like he probably wouldn't kill people, because Paul does do that, and he's really good at it. Other things to say about Dune: it's extremely well written. The prose is very, it's easy to understand. I hear that the future installments in the Dune saga are a little bit more difficult to understand and figure out, a little bit harder to read. As for this first one, it wasn't. I thought it was pretty straightforward, and it was pretty damn amazing. So imaginative. I gotta talk more about the characters. You want to talk about a book that has great female characters in it? Dune. Okay, the Lady Jessica is so cool. She's so witty, she's so smart, and she also knows how to fight, because that's part of the Bene Gesserit order, trained from like birth, basically. She knows how to defend herself. Obviously, she can't fight the same way that Paul can, but she is a great fighter, and she's also just mostly what she is she is a woman who is extremely smart, extremely wise in the Bene Gesserit order, and is a very loving and caring mother. And if you try to kill her, she'll probably end up killing you. She's a great character, super cool. Also, the character of Chani, which is one of the Freeman people that Paul kind of falls in love with. Super cool character as well. Really, 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 really cool. There's another female character in this book that I don't want to spoil for you, but she's also almost like a supernatural kind of child. Yeah, I don't want to spoil about how she comes about. or who she is. Of all the boxes that make a great novel, I mean, talk about great characters that you care about, absolutely. The villain, the Baron Harkonnen, his name is like this super fat, like almost comical character, has suspenders holding his fat flabs up and stuff. Ridiculous villain, but very funny. His son, also a good villain as well. The Emperor, a good villain also. So you've got great good characters, really good bad characters. You've got this whole tribe of people that's fascinating. You've got this religious stuff having to do with Bene Gesserit and also the Freeman. That's really fascinating as well. You've got a freaking messianic character in Paul. You've got the world building that is just, again, kind of changed the way science fiction books and fantasy books were written. You've got a great ending. You've got great female characters. You've got great male characters. You've got even like made up science that seems like real science. I mean, all the boxes that make a fascinating, great book. You've got a great story, a story that is really just something that you're gonna remember. The book has everything. All the boxes are checked on Dune. Dune by Frank Herbert gets an A+. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, have you read Dune? If so, please comment below and tell me what you thought of the book. I have not met many people that have read it, and I'm curious to see if anybody out there on the Carter the Brown channel has read it as I have. So leave your comments in the comment section below, okay? And as always, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and never forget to